And I started making this video over the weekend, and gas prices have changed, have went down. So gas prices were low in the later part of July, early part of August, because the country was more or less using reserves. In order to curb steep gas prices at the pump, the administration released some of the oil reserves as well on WTI drops. However, they've ended the reserves and you got to replenish them. As a result, once the reserves were shut off, oil price began to climb, and WTI over the weekend reached like $95, $96. Today it's sitting about $90, $91. So it's cruising at about between 90 and 95 for the past couple of weeks. Oil's on the up and up. Also, in the Permian Basin, there's been 3 new wells this week. Texas is drilling rather diligently out there. If you travel around my house, if you go to the main highway at night, you'll see lots of pipe trucks going out there and lots of drilling rigs going out there towards that direction. I live about 5 hours from the main drilling basins, although there's some that are closer, like there's some in Sweetwater. But I live about 5 hours away. I'm in like the heart of Texas, but it's still like a big drive to get anywhere. And you have to get on lots of country roads before you even reach the highway. But if you make your way like towards westward and north towards 20, you can see lots of pipe trucks headed that way as well. As a result, there's a town called Rising Star in Texas. I got my horse pen, my horse training pen. I got that from Rising Star Panels because they were the most reasonable in price for a round pen. Anyhow, Rising Star in the town has been expanding like the center of the town to accommodate oil trucks coming off of 20. So to get to 20, you go to Rising Star and you go north. That's like the quickest way to get to 20 if you're going westward. Eastward's a bit different, but if you're going westward, the quickest way for me to get there is to drive all the way to Rising Star and then go north. So there's been lots of trucks, and the town has been widening that center of the town, if you want to call it. And it's kind of cool. It's very wide now. It was narrow. Now it's like, woo, this is some wide intersection for a little, tiny little dot in a map. So oil is, drilling pretty well out there. If you read the report, it talks about how there's less rigs in the Eagle Ford this week, but Eagle Ford was very aggressively developed once they started fracking. They really aggressively developed the Eagle Ford, and there's still different holds in the Eagle Ford depending on where you live. But some of the spent areas, they've shut those wells down. But there's still oil in the Eagle Ford. I have a friend who has oil land in the Eagle Ford shale down there, and he's very happy still. Let's talk about MMTLP. Last week, George Palicaris, I'll put the tweet here, he tweeted that they are working with the SEC to implement the changes, which are straightforward. What does that mean? Okay, it means that, they submitted the S1 back in July. The S1 was submitted. We're waiting for comments on the SEC. SEC says there needs to be some changes. They're straightforward. That sounds like they're pretty minor to me. So the next process is Meta will submit the S1A, which means amended S1. Amended just means that the changes that the SEC wants to see, they do them, they put out the S1A. SEC says, yeah, that's good. And then the S1 will then become effective, or the S1A will become effective. You will see it, how it will play out is you'll see the S1A on the SEC website. Link below if you'd like to check. I check all the time. After that's released, once it becomes active, you're going to see a press release from Meta come out saying we're initiating the process of MMTLP in the next bridge or the preferred Series A in the next bridge, whatever nomenclature they want to use, the current preferred share is going in the next bridge. As a result, here's going to be the new record date where you have to hold the share to get the next bridge hydrocarbon share. That's what you're going to see next. And that will be released sometime very shortly after the S1A becomes active. It could be the same day, it could be 1 day, it could be 2 days. It's going to be in a short time span. When exactly, I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's going to be within a few days from when the SEC approval is. So, next steps. We are looking for the SEC website for the S1A to come out. If the SEC says okay, it becomes effective. And then you'll see a press release from Meta saying such. And, you better have MMTLP by this date to get the next bridge share because MMTLP is going bye-bye. That's your next step, which we're looking for. I'm still very bullish on MMTLP. We're just waiting around. So it's a good time if you get really antsy about waiting. You can find some other plays. Or you can go watch Hobbies. There's that HBO show, House of Dragon, out now. Is it any good? I haven't seen it yet. I was waiting for several episodes to build up, and then I can watch it because I hate ending stuff on cliffhangers. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a tactic to get you to watch the next episode, but I'd like to get the story set up in my mind. If there's a week gap, I might not remember specific details. There is the Lord of the Rings of Power show by Amazon. I'm not sure if that's any good. I haven't seen it yet. I heard people tell me, they're like, Bird Lady, you love Lord of the Rings. I'm like, yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. They're like, might not want to watch Ring of Power. I'm like, oh no, oh no. I like Lord of the Rings. I like The Hobbit. It's not as good, but if you know any stipulation about how the movie is made and the problems that they ran into and bringing back Peter Jackson and the special effects that they created just to cobble this movie together as quickly as possible with a somewhat cohesive plot. It's amazing. And in that feed in itself, I respect The Hobbit. The Hobbit movies, they did come up with some really new, cool special effects tactic and composition shots to facilitate making the movie so quickly. Lord of the Rings had this 9-year thing to make the movie. They had a 3-year pre-production process, a 3-year shooting, and then a 2-year post-production process or a year post. It was crazy. It's a big long post thing just to get the first movie. Yeah. And then The Hobbit, eh, they ran into some bottlenecks. And so I can certainly appreciate them. And like this, our bottleneck right now is waiting around on the SEC to do stuff. In the meantime, FUD's running rampant. I had people coming at me all weekend long, try to insult me. Look, I make fun of myself and I wear a bird suit. So if you're looking to try and insult me or hurt my feelings, it's gonna be rather hard to do. I make fun of myself. I found the insults rather entertaining. I said, "Bring it on," because this is fun. I'm highly entertained by this. That's fine. Like I said, oil is on the up and up, and natural gas, liquid natural gas, you're going to see a continued increase in natural gas. It was at what, 9 something? Henry Hub pricing was at 9 something over the weekend. It's going to go crazy. So Shell has removed itself from all aspects of Russian natural gas. Japan is still doing some parts of Russia for their natural gas because Japan has to import just about all of its natural gas for heating, cooking. Shell can go other places, and Japan really doesn't have much of a choice. And everybody's vying for any natural gas they can get right now. Let that sink in for a second. Japan is going with Russia for about 9.5% of their natural gas imports because they have a stake in it already. And it was a Bermuda-based company that they have the stake with, but Russian government has taken it over because Russian government has decided that all, oil and gas production should be a Russian-based company, should be the government owned, So, as a result, Shell's like, bye. And Japan's like, well, we don't really have much of a choice here. You're a country, you're a diplomatic country, and your country really has no choice or not much choice. Like, beggars can't be choosers here. We're going to go with what most countries are sanctioning right now, at least European countries. Japan really doesn't have much of a choice. Let that sink in. Now, they're not importing all their gas from Russia, it's about 9.5%. There's other imports as well. If you're an American natural gas or LNG company, great guns for you. That's very bullish. And I hear there's quite a bit of natural gas on the Oro Grande. Now, of course, yes, you have to liquefy the liquid natural gas process. That's why you'll see a lot more LNG factories come about. And that's my video for today. Like I said, we are waiting on the S1A. Once the S1A comes out, you'll see it on the SEC website, link below. The SEC will go, yeah, looks good. And that'll be pretty quick. So once the S1A comes out, I think you'll see stuff go pretty quickly. Once SEC says it's good, the S1A is now effective. Once it becomes effective within a couple of days, Meta has to do a press release saying, okay, S1's effective. Here's the new, spin out date into NextBridge hydrocarbons. And we're going to have a new record date to hold the shares. A new record date's given. That's why in the previous documents for the S1, it was blank because we're waiting on effective dates. And then, once you have effective dates, you can then put in your new record dates for 2022. And then, MMTLP goes bye-bye. I still am expecting a run-up on MMTLP going into NextBridge. If it does not hit my goals, I'm fine with holding into NextBridge. Great. There's quite a market right now for oil and gas. That's my opinion, at any rate. My personal opinion. It's your money, your choice, of course. Your money, your choice. However you want to spend your money, it's your money, your choice. Some people get angry when they see other people spend $10,000 on a wedding dress. They're like, oh, you're spending a dress for one day, or you're spending so much money on a wedding, it's one day. I'm like, whatever makes you happy. If that's what makes you happy, and you have the means to do so, go for it. Your money, your choice, right? Good for you. You're wearing your big old glamorous dress. Hope you spent a good amount of money on the food, because that's why I go to weddings. I want cake, real cake, and alcohol and good food. But I've been to other weddings before where, like, you see this grandiose cake and you're like, ooh, look at that cake. Yeah. I have a big sweet tooth. It turns out it's a fake cake, and there's only like a real slice for the bride and groom in there. It's a fake cake, which they rented. And then, like, there's cheap sheet cake made by Betty Crocker over here, which you can have. And I'm like, I don't want no sheet cake. I want some buttercream, fondant, extravaganza in my mouth. If I want Betty Crocker sheet cake, I can make that anytime. Why'd I come to your wedding? I came all the way to wedding, spent the whole day watching the ceremony. Snoozers. I want, like, a good DJ. That's my opinion. But I'm a nice person. I won't complain. You'll just hear me talk about it maybe 20 years later, 30 years later down the road. I'll talk about this boring wedding I went to once. But I'm not going to complain. I'll be like, yeah, good job, bride and groom. Here's a gift. Again, your money, your choice. Just how I look at it. All right, guys, that's it for today. I will see you soon. Goodbye.